Take Me to Church. We talk about weird church stories.
Trump's home in Mar-A-Lago was raided by the FBI, and everyone is saying it was the most perfect, beautiful, amazing raid ever. People are talking about it.
Is California communist? We discussed from the Gulag.
All this and morons.
The Bee Weekly.
Hey, do you like Jesus and beer? Then you and your family need to come to the Fight, Laugh, Feast conference in Knoxville, Tennessee on October 6th through 8th. The topic of this conference is lies, propaganda, storytelling, and the serrated edge. Satan is the father of lies, and the mother of those lies is a government that has rejected God. Christians haven't been reading their Bibles, so we as a society are more susceptible than ever to Satan and his lies. So join us October 6th through 8th as we fight, laugh, and feast with beer and psalms, our amazing lineup of speakers including Pastor Doug Wilson, George Gilder, and Pastor Toby Sumter of the Cross Politics Show, and more. And there's even stuff for the kids like jumpy castles and accidental infant baptisms. Oops! Sign up to attend with you and yours, or become a vendor at fightlaughfeast.com. 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 Hey everyone, welcome to the Bee Weekly. I'm reaching to put my coffee down. I'm hanging out with Adam Yenser, and today we have a special treat. Everybody's favorite podcast co-host, Kira Davis. How you doing, Kira?
I am doing great. Better than ever.
Awesome.
Amazing.
Better than ever?
That's
Nice.
not what you said before we turned the cameras.
I know. I'm practicing my politician speak. Like, you're always great. You're always excited. I'm so excited to be here. This is going to be really exciting today.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's great to have you. I always get a little jealous when you come on because the comments are always like, Kira should be running the podcast.
Yeah, really.
Why are you guys there?
Yeah. You're a good podcaster.
It's adorable.
It's
I love
probably
it.
that energy you brought where you just say you're good.
The Bee is my favorite podcast to do. You guys know I do a lot of media every day, and the Bee is really my favorite place to be. It's like where it can let loose.
You say that to all the podcasts.
No, I really don't.
Some of them she shows up and she goes, "Oh, I wish I wasn't here."
No, most of the time, like I'll be like, "Oh, I totally forgot I have this meeting. I can only give you 15 minutes."
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try when I always do that little thing at the beginning of an interview. I'm like, so how long is this gonna be? But I try not to sound like I'm saying, I don't want to be here, but that's exactly what I'm saying.
But you have to, because some people will take advantage of you. Like,
yeah, I totally said that. Yeah.
I agreed to be on a show recently. I won't say the name, and I was like, great, no problems. I knew the host, and it was a late night. By the time you get to well, Adam, you don't.
I
have a
prefer
family.
late night.
Well, you don't have a family.
I hate being up this early for this
She
podcast.
said, well, you don't have a family.
Yeah.
Yes.
But you're a loser
orphaned and raised
singleton.
by wolves.
But
You
Kyle
don't
and
crave
I are
human
raising-
connection like that.
Kyle and I are raising people.
Yes.
By the time I get to 8:30, I am a night owl.
What is this love?
I do. Did you speak up? You just want to shut down. So it was like an 8:30 media hit. And by 9 o'clock, I'm like, how long is this? He was like, I just have another 40 minutes. I was like, I don't think so. It's time to go. I was thinking I was going to give you 10 minutes. But if you don't set your expectations at the start, people will take advantage of you. By the way, I forgot to tell you guys, I do have a doctor's appointment later on. So I don't know how long this is going to go.
You got a hard out.
No, it's just, it's very important. It's
Sure.
woman stuff. You guys wouldn't get
Oh,
it. But.
And that's the other cover. We won't ask any follow-ups.
I know these two know absolutely nothing about women, so I could say anything.
Well, if you haven't tuned into the podcast.
I hear that every Wednesday they have to go to the doctor.
That's true. There's a rumor that went around my junior high.
Yeah.
So if you haven't tuned into the podcast the last 3 weeks, you don't even know who Adam is.
Yes.
Or if you just started watching, you don't know.
Yeah, I was out on tour. I had shows in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, which was awesome. A club called the Comedy Cabana. Performed with a great comic named Troy Thirdgill. If any of you guys are looking for a funny comedian to look up, check him out.
Thirdgill.
Okay. Troy Thirdgill, yes. He was awesome. Did shows in Boston and Pennsylvania, and then I was hiking in Maine for 4 days. I was camping in the wilderness. Yeah, it was awesome.
And you did any comedy shows up on the mountain?
I did not do any comedy on the mountain. Okay. No, I keep work at the office.
It's
a tough crowd out there.
Yeah,
it's important to have that Chinese wall between work
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And home. So, well, Kira, thanks for coming on. We're going to have a good time today. We're going to talk about California. We're going to talk about crazy church stuff, and we're going to cover the news. So here we go.
What's in the news this week?
Here's an email we got. It says, it's from Josh H. It says, did you guys ever notice how many Star Trek, parentheses, 1966 episodes are named from Shakespeare quotes? Isn't that neat? I actually did not notice that.
Did you know that?
No, that's not something I knew. I'm working my way through the original series now. I'm up to about the beginning of the third season. But The Next Generation is the one I just rewatched completely. And I know
you've never seen the full original season.
I've seen a lot of the episodes. I've never watched all of the original series.
Oh my gosh.
It's so cool, yeah.
Star Trek geek here,
Yeah.
and I was raised on it. Like my mom and we came on the CBC. You guys know I'm Canadian. It came on the CBC every Saturday at noon, and that was the thing that my mom and I did every Saturday. We watched it, but I do know that William Shatner is a trained Shakespearean actor, and Gene Roddenberry often wrote in Pentameter.
Really? Iambic pentameter.
Iambic pentameter.
Fact
and
check.
so, so it is, Josh, good on you for noticing.
That's interesting.
It is neat and it's purposeful. Roddenberry was precise about everything. Nothing was an accident.
That makes sense because I know in Next Generation, Picard is like very, he's a Shakespeare fan. There's actually like plays that they do on the holodeck and stuff. And I know in some of the original series, there are very sort of Shakespearean characters. There's some episodes that are very like theatrical,
flourishing,
where they meet like someone who claims to be a Greek god, or they meet like an old like French nobleman, or it's very Shakespearean in their delivery. Yeah.
Well, it's astute of you to notice.
Yeah.
Yes, Star Trek is actually a lot deeper than people think it is, and so what you see in The Next Generation is a reflection of.
Oh, and R.I.P. Nichelle Nichols passed away this last year. Right?
Wow.
On there,
Yeah, she was really one of the first, like as a little Black girl growing up loving sci-fi. She was really the first Black woman that I ever looked at and thought, oh, that like if I was pretending to be something, or sometimes me and my friends would play like Star Trek Outside or something, she was the first one. I wanted to be her. You know, I wanted to be Uhura. I wanted to. Plus, I always loved how she sat. Like
she was great on the show,
had her knee up, and she always looked like super in charge and also super sexy at the same time. Just a total boss girl. Loved her. God bless Nichelle Nichols. She was a real. She made a lot of change to the industry that we take for granted now. That really came in with her.
This has been Star Trek Facts.
Yes, with Kira and
you
Adam.
guys have the Lord of the Ring podcast. When do we get to start the Star Trek podcast?
This is like I finally have somebody here who wants to talk Star Trek rather than Lord of the Rings.
I'll talk Lord of the Rings too, but
Star Trek. I like Lord of the Rings. I'm just not as
I'm with you.
Encyclopedic knowledge of it.
I was just reading the interview with Peter Jackson, and he was saying that he wished he was trying to see if he could get hypnosis to erase the memories of making the movies, so he could just watch the movies.
Oh yeah,
wow.
Haven't we all been there?
Yeah, we have.
Yeah, I wish I could delete my memory.
So speaking of stuff that we'd like to delete from our memories, the Democrats passed through the Senate 51-50 with Kamala Harris being the tiebreaker, the Inflation Reduction Act. I'm glad that this will reduce inflation.
Yeah, I'm sure this will reduce inflation.
Yeah. So it's got to go through the Democrat-controlled House and then be signed by Biden, which maybe that will have happened by the time this episode comes out.
Yeah.
We are so screwed.
And it spends $430 billion on climate change goals. And they hired 87,000 new IRS agents as part of reducing inflation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what you need to reduce inflation.
According to this, it's claiming that 70,000 of them are armed.
I saw that report a few places. I haven't verified that.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know.
They have arms.
That's probably what it means.
Which is important for calculator usage.
That's right.
Yeah.
And also forcing people to sign away their lives to the government.
I did see one. I did see one moderate that was kind of saying, okay, well, there's a little bit of frothing at the mouth over this because the IRS loses so many agents every year that this bill is saying over the next 10 years we're going to hire enough to keep replenishing that and growing it a little bit, which I think is still bad.
So it's not necessarily raising the total number of IRS agents at any given moment.
Like right now, there will be 87,000 new. I still think it's bad.
Although I'm sure
Abolish
most
the
Americans
IRS.
would be fine with the IRS just slowly
Yes.
losing.
Just slowly
I think we'd all be okay with it.
That sounds like the best of all worlds. Just let them die off or peel off, and then one day, last person out, turn off the lights. You know?
Well, at least we get a $6.5 billion natural gas tax, $124 billion stock tax. This will only affect the rich, so I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
I'm not worried at all. And in fact, I'm just really excited for all the inflation that's going to go down.
Because
the inflation is just going to go down. And
just this morning, the White House announced 0% inflation. Did you see this?
I did see that.
I
did see that.
She announced there is no inflation, 0%.
That's amazing. I am also a millionaire. I'm just announcing it today.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually have $1 million in my purse.
Oh, wow.
Now all those new
Green room.
tax laws are going to affect you because
Yes.
you're rich now.
You're going to get audited.
Oh, dang.
Let's go to our producer, Dan. This was his favorite story of the week. Photos show handwritten notes that Trump apparently ripped and attempted to flush down the toilet. Every time for about an hour or two earlier in the week on Monday, every time I looked over at Dan, his computer was a different website's article about the toilet flushing. It was just pictures of toilets in every tab on his computer.
So Trump has denied these allegations, though. So how did they figure this out? A plumber was like...
I don't know who found them. Axios had these pictures, and there was always these rumors that Trump would occasionally flush like documents and notes down the toilet. Now, what I think the story is very funny and the pictures are funny. One of them, it has, what's the name on it? There's the name of one of the other Republican senators or Congress people was on it. I forget who it was. Yeah, Stefanik. That's who it was. But even these pictures, they sensationalize it like Trump's been flushing all these like top secret documents down the toilet. All they have pictures of is like one little note that he like tore up and ripped. It's like,
also,
does that really prove much?
Well, I think the most scandalous thing about this is that like that's what the toilet in the White House looks like.
Yes.
This is like I think of the I don't know. I've never been to the toilet in the White House, but I think of the toilet in the White House being a little better appointed.
Yeah.
I mean, you go, like, you see pictures of these Saudi Arabian princes, and they have gold toilets.
Yeah.
Like, couldn't we give our president, like, a custom? It looks like
they should have, like, a high-tech bulletproof toilet called the Beast. I'm going to use the Beast.
This is where the president goes after our spiciest lunches. It can handle any load.
Yes.
Kamala Harris's is the Beast 2 or something. They just start numbering them.
Now we just hope the president makes it to the toilet.
He doesn't need to. He probably has diapers on. Oh, was that mean?
Well, Dan, did we spend... yeah, it was mean, but that's fine. Dan, did we spend enough time on your favorite story? I'm going to say yes.
I need to hear back. Is there anything you wanted to add to it, Dan, that we missed?
Yeah.
This really was his favorite story of the week. I guess
he wrote it in the notes. He said, this is Dan's favorite story. So.
It's reminiscent of the Trump climbing into the front seat of the limo to redirect the limo.
Yes.
It's like that. It feels desperate. It feels like...
Did you see him joking about that in his speech?
No, Trump? I didn't.
Oh, it was so funny. He acts it out. He's like, then these strong Secret Service agents, I pushed them aside and ripped the wheel away from them. He's such a stand-up comedian.
Oh, man.
What I love about Trump and these stories that come out is not that I don't think they happened, because they probably did.
Like, I think some version of them.
Some version.
Yeah.
I don't think that the limo thing to me, but stuff like him flushing stuff down the toilet. But it's just funny to me being Trump, and it's not the end of democracy that he ripped up and down and put in the...
Right.
But they always try to treat these stories that way. So...
Yeah.
And like, even if he tried to grab the steering wheel, I always say like, okay, that's bad, but was it reckless driving?
And then what?
Like,
what are you trying to get? What are you trying to
drive it right into the Capitol building?
Even if everything they said was true, it still doesn't prove what they're saying.
Right.
Well, Kira, what's going on in the world of Diablo?
I don't know if you've heard the story about Diablo. I'm not known for my avid gaming skills, but I do a little bit of gaming from time to time. A gamer has spent $100,000 on leveling up a Diablo character, and he sued the game developers when he couldn't find anyone else on his level to play with. Oh my god.
So this must be Diablo Immortal. Yeah, it's Diablo Immortal.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
It must be Diablo Immortal.
Fully maxing out your character would cost $600,000.
So these are games where you spend real money to upgrade your.
So it's a mobile game. So you can you can just play the game normally.
Yeah.
But the game kind of encourages you, like, well, you could, spend a few hours trying to grind to the next level, or
I see.
Spend $50.
Okay,
like
I have a confession to make. A confession time. I was scoffing at this story, but I may have spent a few $100s on Angry Birds doing the same
man,
thing.
a few hundred, you think?
Yeah, I might be in that range, like over the years that I played Angry Birds, because it's all you can grind to the next level, or you can be like, screw it, give me 1,000,000 feathers, and then you give them your $10, and it's so they do craft video gaming like they craft slot machines.
Oh yeah, they make it to be addictive.
Yes,
yeah,
and it is.
The only game I would have ever come close to that on is Pokemon Go, which I played for 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
And I think I played it 2 or 3 years without paying. And then at some point it was like, I need more Pokeballs.
Yeah.
Give me the Pokeballs, or whatever it was. And so I probably ended up spending 50 or 60. But you buy a new game for 50 or 60 bucks anyway. So it's like a game that gives you that many years of enjoyment. I'm like, okay. But yeah, these games are designed to they call them whales. People that spend like hundreds of thousands of dollars on these games.
Really? I've heard of like crypto whales. Yeah,
so
you can be a whale in a video game also.
Yeah, you absolutely
You can be a whale in the stock market. But like, okay, who has $100,000? This is what I want to know. Like, who has the $100,000 to drop on a video game to get to the top level? Like,
well, it could be.
What kind of person does that?
Nerds. There's probably nerds that make a lot of money. Like
rich
who knows?
Tech nerds.
Tech sector, Wall Street. I'm sure there's lots of rich people. Maybe it's just a
dumb kid.
Trust fund kid. Yeah, it could be
credit
anything.
Cards.
Well,
and it doesn't say he necessarily has the $100,000, just that he spent it. He could now owe his credit card company $100,000 from his IHOP job.
It's hilarious that he paid all that money and he got to the top, and now he has no one to play with. It's like that Twilight Zone episode. I can't remember the name of it, where the guy, he loves to read and all he wants to do is read. He has
time
a
enough
bottle.
at last.
What's it called? Time enough at last.
Time enough at last, or that's at least what he shouts.
And then he gets thrown into this, nuclear winter where he's the only survivor, and finally he has all the time in the world to read. And what happens? His glasses break.
His glasses, yeah.
So that's what this poor guy, his glasses break. Got all the way to the top level, and now.
Speaking of glasses breaking, this was my favorite video of the week. Did you see the video of Biden trying to put on his jacket and he can't get his arm through the sleeve?
Well,
should we watch it?
Let's take a
play
watch.
This.
Look how uncomfortable Jill looks.
And look at the army guys just standing there at attention. I feel like this is when you're trying to make the British guards laugh. And they're not allowed to laugh at what's happening.
It's so sad, man.
Like, she didn't want to help him. And then
he's still,
like, okay,
she has to physically put his arm into the sleeve.
It's embarrassing.
And then, I guess it's all over. He's got his jacket on now. What else could go wrong?
Look at me. I did it. Oh, there it goes. Jill, look at Jill. She's like, oh, for God's sake, Joe.
Oh, and here's another one where
he already shook the guy's hand.
Is this Chuck Schumer? He already shakes Chuck Schumer's hand.
Now
and
our
then he
great
waits,
seeker, our partner,
and then he does the chin. I was just scratching my chin.
Oh my gosh.
He looks like so offended that Chuck Schumer didn't shake his hand a second time.
Like, yeah, he does that though. Then he does it when people. I have seen him do that, where he goes in for the hug again or the shake again, and then the person who obviously just did it walks by and he's like, "Hey, what's going on?" Like, oh my gosh, that's so embarrassing.
Well, speaking of old presidents, Trump was just raided by the FBI. This is the big story of the week, of course. The FBI searched former President Donald Trump's residence at his Mar-a-Lago club in Palm Beach, Florida on Monday. So I guess they had a warrant that was looking for specific material. Some news outlets were reporting that they are looking for evidence that he removed classified documents that he wasn't supposed to off White House grounds.
But it's unclear what the classified documents are. They said it's just stuff that's supposed to be in the National Archives.
Yeah.
It seems, there's a lot of rumors that they're just looking for January 6th related evidence and using this as a cover for it. But
yeah,
it really is crazy that they they've taken it this far.
And it's wild to me that it's a former president of a different party, and the current party is raiding his home.
Very dangerous precedent.
And nobody's
the leading candidate for the next election, and they're just
it's like nobody believes that this was just some exercise of justice that needed to happen. Because
like Donald Trump accidentally took the Declaration of Independence with him, and we have to go get it back. That's basically their story.
We're 2 years out from the Trump presidency. Idea. Like he hasn't been in the White House in 2 years. We are so far beyond where we were at this time in 2020, or when Trump was still president, that the whole thing feels surreal. It just feels, and it's scary because now we've officially weaponized the FBI. If I was an incoming Republican president in the next election, I'd be making sure that I weaponize the FBI.
Yes, they can retaliate. It's going to start this pattern of, investigating criminally your opponents.
It's escalation. Yeah. It's not a good look.
And it's so scary because, you're not supposed to be able to weaponize, for instance, the Department of Justice or the FBI. And now that it is, it's like, well, who oversees that? If you're already using the FBI to carry out these political hits, and the Justice Department is involved, there's no oversight for anything.
But it's always been this way. Yeah. I actually tweeted this out this week. I said, Black people have been complaining about the FBI for 60, 75 years. In the Black community, even when you go back to the civil rights movements, even like pre-civil rights movement days, I'm not sure when the FBI was formed officially, but they were monitoring Martin Luther King. They were putting cameras and recording them. They were making plants the way that the January 6th people are saying, hey, the FBI planted people here to instigate chaos. That's what Black activists were saying in the civil rights movement. They were saying the FBI is planting people, and they've said it the whole time, but it's always been dismissed by the talking heads as like paranoia or just sort of racial grievances. And it's like, no, we've always been saying this, but now that it's affecting like the larger.
Now that they've gone after an orange person.
Yeah, now they went after an orange person.
The orange community. When they came for the orange community, there was no one left to speak for me.
So it's like, this has always been happening. And it's just like people got wise to the police maybe not always being on your side through COVID, right? Black people have been complaining about that forever.
I listen to the Black people.
Yes, Kyle listens to the Black
Kara can vouch
person.
for me. I always listen to the Black people. I have a Black friend named Kara Davis.
I have a card that you get and everything. I hand it out.
Oh, really? I want it. I need to get one. I need to get one of these.
So maybe we're not that close. Maybe we're not.
You didn't get a card yet?
Yeah, you didn't get your card. You get to show it.
So one of the main aspects of criticism over this has just been that the type of crime that was committed doesn't seem to have warranted a raid.
Yeah.
No,
it's like, why not just say, like, hey, return those documents? And I heard that they were going back and forth with Trump's representatives about these documents that are missing.
Yeah.
And the last communication that I read they had was like, they told them, well, hold on to those documents for the time being. And there's no follow-up until we're going to break into your home.
And no one's seen this warrant.
Hoping you're safe.
Yeah, no one's seen the warrant yet, which I guess Trump has, right? He has the warrant that they've actually served him. They don't have the application for the warrant, but they have the physical warrant.
Does he have the warrant? Last I heard, his lawyer said they have not seen the warrant.
Oh, okay.
And
maybe he flushed it down the toilet.
Maybe. Also, like, just the whole. There's another theory, and I'm not sure if I believe this or not, but there's another theory that's like, well, this is an attempt. It's like another January 6th attempt just to rile up the extreme fringe base of the Trump wing and get them to maybe do something.
Inspire backlash and violence.
Poking him with a stick. Do something. Yeah. Do the insurrection.
I don't know how much truth to lend to that, but it's an angle.
So Andrew Yang criticized it on those grounds. Meghan McCain criticized it and said, this better be legit or you're making him a martyr and just handing him 2024 on a silver platter. And Andrew Cuomo commented on it too. Remember that guy?
Oh yeah, he was the next president of the United States. He was America's governor, whatever.
Yeah, there's a lot of Cuomo sexuals out there.
Yeah.
Yes.
And what did he say? DOJ must immediately explain the reason for its raid, and it must be more than a search for inconsequential archives, or it will be viewed as a political tactic. and undermine any future credible investigation legitimacy of January 6th investigation. That's interesting. So there are even people on the other side that are saying
if you don't have something,
because they all have something, and they all know that they're all vulnerable.
That's the subtext is don't do this to my house.
Exactly.
Whoa. FBI raids on former politicians.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Except Hillary Clinton. She was all for it. She tweeted out her emails merchandise.
Hillary
America's
Clinton,
sweetheart.
the worst person.
The only crime she ever committed was stealing our hearts.
She tweeted out her butt.
She tweeted out her emails hat that you can purchase. So,
I mean, this point has been made, to death now. But it is true. You look at the way the FBI treats Trump, and then you look at what went on with Hillary and what she got away with. You look at Hunter Biden, what he got away with. There's nobody finding these real evidence of real crimes, and they're still just.
I'm all for raiding and jailing as many presidents as possible, but do it evenly.
Yes, exactly. I mean, we can go there if you want, but this whole game. I mean, the Clintons sent a staffer in to the National Archives, and he stuffed papers down his pants and took them out, incriminating Clinton documents. Yeah. So the whole thing is it's ridiculous. Are they handing him 2024 on a platter, or are they trying to rile up the base? I have no idea. I think it may have been a misstep unless they find something incredible.
Well, good job, FBI. And
FBI.
That brings us to the banger of the week from the Babylon Bee. Treasure in heaven is great, but it's not going to buy you a tank of gas. So let's take a moment to briefly review the current state of our economy and the global effect the war between Russia and Ukraine has had. We're in for a tough year here, and Biden's printing and spending could be catastrophic for the US dollar and the market. That's why a growing number of financial analysts are recommending you diversify with gold and silver now. And the only company we recommend is Allegiance Gold. Our friends at Allegiance Gold can help you protect your IRA or 401k with physical gold and silver and have it delivered securely right to your door. The team at Allegiance Gold takes the time to educate their clients on the importance of having a financial portfolio that's diversified with gold and silver. Allegiance Gold has been one of the top precious metals firms in the nation for their commitment to protecting your hard-earned savings. They have an A+ from the Better Business Bureau, a 5-star rating with TrustLink, and they're AAA rated with the Business Consumer Alliance. If you act now by calling them and you mention Babylon Bee, they'll even give you $500 of free silver on a qualified purchase. Call 844-790-9191 to get this exclusive offer. Or you can visit allegiancegold.com/B. That's B-E-E. Call 844-790-9191. That's 844-790-9191. Or visit allegiancegold.com/BEE.
Banger of the week.
Hunter Biden breathes sigh of relief as FBI raid passes by his house on the way to Mar-A-Lago. Great little Photoshop.
That's a good one. Him.
It was weird. It's weird that he's wearing clothes, though.
Yeah, he's really naked.
He reminds
me a little bit of the neighbor from Bewitched, just like looking out his window, like what's going on outside.
Well, isn't there a picture? It is like reminiscent of that Joe Biden picture where he's just staring.
Oh yeah, the Biden one. He's staring out the window.
White House
Very
windows.
confused.
The Bidens are quite the family. It's like you have dynasties, and you're like, okay, I hate them, but I get it. Like I get how the Clintons got so powerful.
Mm-hmm.
They're on top of it. They run everything with an iron fist. They get the Kennedys. They were charming.
It's a machine. You get why it's a thing.
I get that. Even the Trumps, in a way, they have the power of celebrity behind them. But the Biden family is just like
they're just bumbling and
mess from top to bottom. Yes,
I don't know. I like them.
We also had a bomb of the week.
Bomb of the week.
Man taken up into heaven after stopping gas pump exactly on the 00.
Nice.
It's a good one.
I like it.
I like that.
Yeah.
Whoever came up with that was really funny.
I have an inkling who it was. And now it's time for the best segment of every week, Sizzler Facts. 25 weeks ago, we debuted a new feature to the podcast called Sizzler Facts.
Kira, have you been here for a Sizzler Fact yet?
I was here for one of the first Sizzler Facts.
Okay,
and we had a lovely picture of a Sizzler. I think Adam was in that picture.
Oh, was he in
Was
the
it
picture?
you?
Oh, I think I was in the picture.
I think Kyle was in the picture
was.
walking by the Sizzler, yeah.
Kira, would you like to read our Sizzler Fact today?
Yeah. It's the only reason I come to the bee anymore.
Yeah.
Harsh.
The earliest Wayback Machine snapshot of Sizzler.com from 1998 is actually a pornographic website. Luckily, no images have been preserved. By 2001, the site had gone under. The earliest versions of the actual Sizzler website appeared to have been built in Flash, so they are no longer accessible, sadly. At some point in 2007, the Flash introduction was removed, and this is the glorious site you can see. There is a quick poll on the front page asking what your favorite comfort food is, but it is sadly no longer functional. So take a look at this.
Web design.
Historic document.
Yes.
For the original, well, one of the original Sizzler
Right in the
websites.
mid-2000s, they were into this frames thing where everything had like that thin white line around it.
Yes.
Like everything was in boxes like that.
Yeah.
I like it.
It's
nice.
like a newsletter.
It's organized look.
It's based on like newsletter
Yeah.
templates. Yeah.
And I tried to click on that virtual test kitchen, which I thought sounded interesting, but it was just a link to join their newsletter.
And what are the options for favorite
Did you
comfort
join the
food? It
Sizzler
says,
newsletter?
No, because it didn't work anymore. but-
favorite comfort food candidates are steak and baked potato, fried shrimp or chicken, cheeseburger and fries, or D, any form of chocolate.
I think I'd say steak and baked potato out of that list.
Yeah. I'd go steak and baked potato is my favorite. Cheeseburger is a solid
I mean, that's a
choice.
solid.
I'm
food.
with Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, I said the same thing though. Why are you
Right.
with-
But I brought
I'm
up the
Kyle
cheeseburger.
too.
I'm with Adam, and I guess that means
I
I'm
know.
with Kyle.
Adam's been on my podcast though, and you haven't been on it.
That's
so
right.
Yeah.
But I got to get Adam on there a third time before I get you
Yes.
on there for your.
We got to keep breaking each other's podcast guest record.
Yeah.
So steak and baked potato for you also?
I think so. Yeah,
Okay.
with a little sour cream.
This has been Sizzler Facts.
Now it is time for B Radio from Austin Robertson.
Now, you may not hear B Radio on the B Weekly anymore going forward because this will be moving to its own podcast feed. So check that out on babylonb.com, and you can subscribe in all your favorite podcast platforms. You'll be able to find B Radio, and a few times a week you'll get Austin's lovely voice like honey pouring into your ears.
Factually inaccurate. Morally correct. This is Babylon Bee Radio. Our top story. High-level Chinese asset and sex trafficker Hunter Biden breathed a sigh of relief this week as an FBI raid team passed by his West Palm Beach vacation home to raid Donald Trump's residence in Mar-a-Lago.
Phew! Thought they had me for a minute there.
Biden sighed, according to sources, before going back to smoking crack with a hooker on a pile of cash freshly delivered by Chinese agents.
Glad to know the FBI is still working for my dad.
The FBI arrived at Mar-a-Lago shortly after, but things got awkward when the FBI raid team ran into the FBI evidence planting team due to a scheduling mistake. Former President Trump addressed a crowd of thousands gathered outside his resort, thanking the FBI for officially kicking off his re-election campaign.
I would like to thank the FBI. Remember them, the FBI? How about those beauties, huh? They came into my home to make your favorite president look like a criminal. Unbelievable. Such losers. Such losers. But everyone still loves me, so it's okay. They didn't even find anything. I'm gonna be the president again.
Sources close to Trump say his first act as president will be to hire his own appointed FBI director, Christopher Wray, and replace him with a used dust mop from the Capitol janitor's closet before raising the Hoover building and banishing all FBI agents to Gitmo.
I'm gonna fire everyone. Literally everyone in government. Federal Reserve, gone. EPA, gone. CIA, gone. Department of Education, ATF, HHS, gone, gone, gone.
The news media responded to Trump's statement by calling him a, quote, threat to democracy worse than Hitler, while tearing their clothes and heaping dust upon the crowns of their heads. At airtime, Trump's approval had gone up over 30%, only to plunge again after he made another nasty comment about Mika Brzezinski's facelift. We've received an update from Mar-a-Lago where Trump was last seen fleeing on a golf cart shouting, "You'll never take me alive, coppers!" at federal agents. Witnesses claim he led authorities on a daring chase that reached speeds of up to 30 miles per hour, weaving between golfers at the country club. Trump reportedly did donuts on the 8th hole, maneuvering so expertly that federal agents crashed into each other. He then headed for the property's gates, launching off a ramp hidden by shrubbery and corkscrewed over a moat of alligators. The FBI warns that Trump is still at large and extremely dangerous. As D.C. resources begin to buckle under the strain of thousands of migrants being sent to the nation's capital from Texas, the Biden administration has taken steps to solve the problem by hiring them all as IRS agents.
Those migrants are hard workers, folks. Let's make them tax collectors. Give these people a gun and an IRS badge and put them to work, taking money from people. Poor kids can audit just as good as white kids. No joke.
Experts say Americans have been clamoring for more IRS agents for decades and are looking forward to having their finances examined and confiscated more than ever before.
If this doesn't work, I'll just take everyone's money by printing it and devaluing the dollar. That works pretty well, too.
Biden then shook hands with a space of empty air to his right that he mistook for the IRS commissioner. At airtime, the migrants had already audited the entire country and handpicked the full harvest with time to spare. Cultural critic James Lindsay has been suspended from Twitter for persistently criticizing teachers who sexualize small children. Though Twitter announced a permanent ban, Lindsay was able to sneak back on the platform by simply declaring himself an actual teacher who sexualizes small children.
How do you do, fellow elementary sex educators?
Said Lindsay via his new Twitter persona, Jameson Lintergarten.
Gosh, I sure do love teaching children about my sexuality and helping them find their true pronouns.
The new bio from Mr. Lintergarten has already earned accolades from the pedophile community, with many applauding his remarkable courage. Initial comments included affirming tweets from profiles with diverse handles like @GroomTheKids, @TwerkForTeacher, and @Don'tTellYourMom. Twitter is in the process of awarding Lintergarten a blue check and giving him 300,000 bot followers to help boost his reach. At airtime, the Biden administration announced Mr. Lintergarten will receive the National Teacher of the Year award to be presented by Rachel Levine.
That ain't no woman. It's a man.
As the U.S. State Department continues to negotiate with the Kremlin for release of Brittany Griner, Russian President Vladimir Putin has made it clear that he will not let go of the WNBA star for anything less than a first edition foil Charizard Pokemon card.
I must have this card, then my Pokemon collection will finally be complete. This card is very hard to find in Russia. I don't want any terrorist prisoners or Russian arms dealers. I only want the card I have dreamed of for ages. Oh yeah, it must be gem mint condition too. No blemishes. I'm not messing around with you Americans.
State Department officials have taken the offer to President Biden.
Not a chance, man. It took me forever to get that card. I'll give you a second edition Blastoise and throw in a few terrorists and my son Hunter. Take it or leave it.
Biden finally agreed to release every Russian prisoner in U.S. custody and send $52 billion in exchange for nothing. After once again finding herself with 14 million messages asking for prayer, the Blessed Virgin Mary decided to finally just set her voicemail to forward directly to Jesus.
People, I'm exhausted. I can't listen to your messages anymore. Besides, every message is virtually the same 42 words repeated over and over again. I get it. You want me to pray for you. You realize you can pray directly to my son, right? Mama needs a break.
Mary stated that she began to consider forwarding her voicemail after seeing her most recent screen time update.
Last week, I literally spent 99.9% of my time here in heaven on the phone, listening to prayer requests, and I only got further behind. It's just not healthy to be on my phone that much. I think the blue light's really starting to affect me.
Though her voicemail forwarding has caused much consternation down on Earth, the Blessed Mother has promised not to give it up entirely.
I really hope putting my messages on automatic forwarding for a bit will help everyone calm down about me as we all worship Christ together.
At airtime, Protestants and Catholics decided the plan was silly and planned to fight about Mary even harder. Now you're up to date on the only news that matters. Find more fake news you can trust at BabylonB.com. Until next time, this is Austin Robertson, the voice of the Babylon Bee. So long.
Thanks, Austin. That was great. What's our next segment?
Oh, it looks like next we have Weekly News with Adam Yenser.
Americans are discovering that if we want to change the nation, we have to change the way the marketplace works. And that change starts with you, with your local communities, and with your wallet. Be deliberate with your dollars and reject woke corporations. Imagine a world in which every single dollar you spend would go towards companies that share your values for life, liberty, and patriotism. Now with the Public Square app, you can. Public SQ, or Public Square, is an app and website that connects freedom-loving Americans to the community and companies that share their values. Engage in a nationwide platform with the largest directory of patriotic businesses and consumers, all while accessing exclusive savings at businesses that see the world the way you do. The marketplace is free to join for consumers and business owners alike. To get started and shop your values, download the Public Square app from the App Store or Google Play, or click on the link in the video description.
It's time for the Weekly News with Adam Yenser.
After isolating for a second week with another bout of COVID, Joe Biden tested negative on Saturday. His doctor said he's fully recovered and should live a long, healthy few more months. Sounds like he'll be back on his feet and falling down in no time. After hearing that Biden was feeling better, Nancy Pelosi gently woke him up to let him know she started a war with China while he was out sick. While speaking during her trip to Asia, Nancy Pelosi said that she's always felt a special connection to China because she was told as a little girl that if you dig a hole at the beach, it would reach China. Pelosi added that she feels a special connection to the Chinese people because her husband is also a terrible driver. The Biden administration celebrated a higher-than-expected job report last month with over 500,000 new jobs added. And in more good news for America's future, Pete Davidson and Kim Kardashian aren't going to reproduce. Pete and Kim announced that they've ended their 9-month-long relationship, which means Kim Kardashian will return to her quiet life of modest chastity, patiently waiting for her Boaz. As water levels continue to drop in Nevada's Lake Mead, a 4th set of human remains has been found. Las Vegas is already planning to capitalize on the discoveries with the Luxor Hotel's new Bodies the Exhibition Best of Lake Mead. T-Pox, the only known drug that treats monkeypox, has become extremely hard to find due to FDA restrictions. Luckily, if there's one thing gays know how to do at a party, it's obtain illegal drugs. As ice melts in Greenland, billionaires including Jeff Bezos and Bill Gates are funding a massive treasure hunt for rare minerals that could power millions of electric vehicles. They say the hardest part will be getting African children to Greenland to mine the minerals. This past weekend, Pacifica Beach, California hosted the annual Surf Dog World Dog Surfing Championships, or as sharks call it, the annual hot dog eating contest. Pacifica Beach is in the Bay Area, and the dogs said it was beautiful except for all the people poop on the sidewalk. By a margin of 59% to 41%, voters in the usually conservative state of Kansas rejected a bill that would have banned abortion. Of course, Kansas has a long history of celebrating and protecting murderers. Author David McCullough, who wrote several best-selling books about American history, died at the age of 89. And coincidentally, there may not be much American history left. While on the road with the band Train, singer Jules' tour bus caught fire and burned. Jules said she's glad no one was hurt, but is still devastated that she has to perform with Train tonight. Johnny Depp has signed a new 7-figure deal with Dior to continue promoting their Sauvage fragrance. Sauvage, if you slept in poop all night, cover the smell with Sauvage. That's it for Weekly News. Come see me live at the Comedy Catch in Tennessee, August 25th to 27th, and at McCurdy's Comedy Theater in Sarasota, Florida, September 1st to 4th.
Ah, that was great, Adam.
Thank you.
Very funny. What did you think of?
I laughed till I cried.
Well, that's what we try to do.
I do a lot of crying when I come to the Bee.
We're very mean to you.
Yeah, that's what you see on camera. And
it's a toxic workplace.
It's very toxic.
The second one I've worked for.
Oh yeah. Okay. I remembered what the first one was. So church is a crazy place sometimes.
Church can get crazy.
Yeah, it's always weird to me how much drama there is at church compared with any other like social setting or company. Like you go to churches and it's just so intensely personal.
It's got its own little,
it's
political mechanism, gossiping. And
yeah. So where are we all coming from? You're a Lutheran.
I'm a Lutheran. Yep. I was raised ELCA. Now I'm Missouri Synod.
Yeah. So you became a real Christian at some point.
Yeah.
I grew up in the kind of mainline Baptist-y, moved more a little Southern Baptist-y, and bounced around a little in that kind of non-denominational Baptist-y type thing. And are you a Christian?
Yes, I am a Christian. No, I am not yet. Yes, I was raised by atheists. I had a conversion experience, and I've never belonged to a denomination. I guess I'm one of those dirty evangelicals.
Okay, so like mainline, like center of the road.
Sure, I don't know.
Can women be pastors?
No.
Okay, I think we had this conversation.
We had this conversation. It was actually, I had a number. You sold a number of subscriptions by putting that on the pay side. I had a lot of fans who were like, they asked you this question if you believed in women pastors, and I thought, this is the test, if I follow Kira or not. So I bought a subscription so I could see if you gave the right answer.
Oh, I see.
No, I don't believe women should be pastors.
Don't say it till the paywall, till behind the paywall. All right, but we asked our subscribers and our YouTube commenters for their craziest church stories, and I thought we could throw in some of ours as well.
Okay.
Now it's time for Weird Church Stories.
So we'll go ahead and read. This is from It's My Fault. He says, the kids were putting on a program and one of the kids threw up. The instinct of the teacher sitting beside him, who was an ex-football player, was to catch the throw up in his hands. It was hilarious. It just sounds gross.
Sometimes you just react.
Throw up is so gross to me, it's hard for me to find it funny because I'm just repulsed by it.
Can I just say this while I have the platform to say it?
Absolutely.
No. Next story.
Hollywood, we do not need to see people throwing up on camera.
It's
not necessary.
agree.
I get it. If I hear the sound and they are retching and they're heading for the toilet, I get it. I do not need to see stuff coming out of the person's mouth.
I have never seen it in a show and been like, this show is better for having that.
The only one I think that was ever funny was in Team America World Police, where the puppet throws up for 5 minutes.
Or Stand By Me.
I don't think I know the Stand By Me one.
I've seen it.
Barfarama? You're so young.
I've seen it, but it's
I feel like I don't.
I'm way older than you. Barfarama, help me out, everybody! Come on, just tell me. Just look it up on YouTube.
It's been a long time. I don't remember.
I think it's more. I feel like it's a movie I should have seen. I just haven't.
I think it's worth seeing, and I think you would like it.
But no, I agree. 99.9% of the time, no reason to show
Pitch Perfect
to show barf in a movie.
Okay, maybe if it's a gimmick, because it was disgusting, but it
looks
maybe for comedic effect.
It looks so fake. It looks so fake in Pitch Perfect because she barfs the orange Slurpee.
That's how Barfarama in Stand By Me is. So it's like a gimmick.
Like a spraying.
But you're right. The idea of like this person's not feeling well, or she's pregnant, or she's scared.
And then you see it. I'm like, just make the sounds. I'm okay with the sounds.
I feel the same way about like sex in movies too. Like I get what happens.
No, I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Just show like kiss and then wake up together in the morning. Adam's like,
I'm okay with the sounds.
I understand reasons to be against it, but I can't say.
Anyways, sorry about that sidebar.
Now back to church stories. This one's from Brendan Newton. I visited a church that had a guitar soloist that came out during worship, and he played for like 7 minutes.
I think we've all been there. We visited a church one time and they were playing a Jeremy Camp song, which I don't think was really that much of a worship song. It was just kind of a Christian-y song.
Yeah.
And there was like all old guys. It was clear that they wanted to be in a rock band when they were younger and could never make it, you know? Mm-hmm. And after the verse or the bridge or whatever, one of them goes, let's all listen to this solo. And then the old guy comes up and starts, and we walked out. We left. We were just like, okay, we're done.
Well, you guys have not had a treat unless you've been to a black church. And then you have seen like, the oldest auntie in the church be like, God has told me he's got a word for you. And then go up and just improvise a spiritual song for 45 minutes. Like that's a regular occurrence in black
the
church.
witnessing open mic.
Oh yes. The witness open mic is a real thing. Yeah.
Well, if my black friend invited me to church sometime.
Well, she goes to a church with white folks now, so we don't have any of that fun stuff. I go to a mega church in Southern California, so we don't have room for the Holy Spirit. We are in at 11. We are out by 12:30. The worship band has 20 minutes. You don't have time to riff.
Yeah, that's
you don't
good.
have time. Yeah, but it is a rock show. We have lights and everything. Yeah.
Do you want to read the next one here from
Adam? Adam says that he's on the AV team, and on the Sunday after 9/11, the board decided it was time to die spectacularly with a loud sound akin to automatic weapons fire. It was great. Oh my gosh.
That's fantastic.
That's terrifying.
This is from Crystal Hill. Tried a new church and the whole message was on Acts 29. My husband and I were searching for Acts 29. Acts only goes to 28. The whole message was about what comes after Acts, but there was no verses. Then the pastor threw chocolate golden nuggets out, like the Hershey's ones. They were golden bricks of truth. We didn't go back.
This sounds
now,
like
I was tracking because I've heard the Acts 29 thing before. Like they'll say, we the church are Acts 29.
Oh, okay.
And I've heard that like used.
I've never
They
heard
lost
that.
me with the chocolate gold nuggets of truth.
Nuggets, yeah.
Oh Lord, that sounds like a black church to me.
Here's one from Kelly. There was a guy sitting in the front pew, and he pulled out a 12-inch Subway sandwich and started eating it during our sacrament meeting. My family was sitting right behind, dying laughing, and then when he ate the whole thing, he bent over, reached underneath the pew, and pulled out a 2-liter jug of grapefruit-flavored soda pop. He drank the whole thing. It was the best meeting ever.
Wow.
That's fantastic.
Wow. Do you guys say pop or soda?
I say soda. I cringed a little saying the word pop, even reading it, because I don't like that word.
Yeah, when you go to the Midwest, it's pop. In Canada, it's pop, but I always thought soda sounded very American.
Soda is always what I call it.
I waffle between soda and Coke. Sometimes I'll say Coke to mean a generic, like, give me a Coke. And then
Coke. I prefer
That's an
even
East Coast thing.
I prefer even Coke to pop.
no pop or soda pop here. No.
Mm-hmm. Soda, I think, is the best one, but we'll let that one go.
Kira, it's your turn to read what Hugh says.
A man with Down syndrome stole a potted plant from me, and I didn't have the guts to stand up for myself.
I don't think Hugh knew what we were doing.
Wait,
I think you misunderstood the assignment.
It happened so fast.
Okay, Hugh, this is from Hugh.
He doesn't even say that it happened in church.
This was me. Yeah, Hugh says, let me read it again because I was laughing. A man with Down syndrome stole a potted plant from me, and I didn't have the guts to stand up for myself. He got busted by the Down syndrome dude. And you know what? That guy probably
church stories.
That guy probably takes so much from people knowing that they're not going to stand up
if
to
you had Down syndrome, you know, you could just do whatever you wanted.
That's,
steal as many potted plants.
That's a
as you
boss move right there, actually.
Based Down syndrome guy. All right, here's one from David Russell. Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban walked in and sat 3 pews in front of us.
Oh, that's cool.
An interesting story.
So this brings my Denzel Washington story. I think I've told this before.
No,
Do you remember
I have
this?
not. You haven't Denzel Washington.
I could have sworn I've told
Kyle. No, you didn't tell me I would remember the Denzel
We visited a black church in South Central LA, and it was for a college assignment. Go visit a black church.
Oh, that's cute.
Because it was all white people at my college, you know. So you had to
That
go.
was really the assignment?
No, it was go visit a church that's outside your normal like denomination.
The subtext is go visit
a black church. I read between the lines.
Or one of those Korean churches with the white vans.
Yeah.
So anyway, we go and it's a massive church, and they did the. I've never seen this done before, but they did the offering time, and they passed around the plate, and then they said, "Stand up if you gave money." And so everybody who gave money stood up.
Oh boy, yeah.
And then
that's
they said,
old school.
"Remain standing if you gave more than." And so it was like an elimination game.
Oh, that's a black church.
So they
thing,
start getting up to percentage of income, and they're like, if you gave 5% of your income, if you gave 10%, I think they got up to like 25% of your income, and we were like looking around, and like 3 pews in front of us is Denzel Washington, and he's still standing. And we're like, okay, well, I guess we know why they have this big building. So then they did meet and greet time, and my brother and my wife both got up and walked all the way down to him and like scooted in the pew and shook his hand.
Oh wow, good for them. I wouldn't have the.
And my wife said he has soft hands. So
it's like it says in the Bible: when you give to charity, stay standing until everyone knows you gave the most.
First of all, kudos to your wife and brother for doing that. Second of all, that's exactly what I always imagine Denzel Washington's hands feel like.
They said very soft. They said they were very soft.
Yeah, just soft.
Now the sermon was like it was fine. You know, he was just talking about it was if you want to walk on water, you got to get out of the boat. So it was like it was kind of inspirational, just taken from the Bible. It wasn't like he was doing an expositional thing, but it was cool that I've like seen this in the movies, but you know, my black friends have never invited me to church, so I didn't know that this was a thing.
Because white folks don't want to be in church for 5 hours on a Sunday.
But at the end, the sermon just morphs into a song.
Yeah.
He's like, because the thing is that you have to have faith. And the organ goes,
that sounds fun.
You got to have faith. You got to have. And then everybody jumps up, you know, and it's like, there was no transition.
Fun. I'm feeling it right now.
White people get so excited. I love it.
We did get
I can't even, I could probably be a rich woman if I had a dime for every time a white person was like, I just wish my church could be more like your guys' church. Like,
you know,
it's so
more
fun.
like you.
I get it. I get it. And I hate boring church too. But the flip side of that is that there's a lot of spiritual rot in the Black church.
No church has nailed keeping it exciting, keep it to an hour.
No, I don't think it's possible.
That's what it should be. Keep it exciting, keep it to an hour.
And it's 6 to 1, half a dozen to the other. You get the show, and that's interesting, but then you're looking at a lot of people who aren't really being served.
What's the spiritual rot that you're talking about?
Well, like, it's a lot of show. So that story of the people standing up in the pews, that's actually very common. I know a lot of people who leave, a lot of Black people have left their church just because they were like, there were one church I know, I had a pastor who left his former church because they had 1,000-row seats in the front pew, $1,000 seats in the front pew. So if you were at the $1,000 level, they put your family in the front pew, and now there's this competition.
Pay to play,
yeah, it really is. So we also have, I mean, look at what's happening to Black families. I mean, 73% of our kids are born into single family households. The nuclear family is, Black nuclear families are on the rise, but we're still dismally behind every other racial group. I mean, we have a lot of spiritual rot in our community, and the Black church is also a powerful political presence. So it's been politicized a lot. So that's why you hear a lot of Black pastors getting very political. There's power in that
social
position.
gospel and kind of a prosperity
That's
gospel
right.
maybe mixed in.
That was like Kamala Harris wanting to run ads in Black churches. Did you want to like show videos at the end of the
I thought they
sermon?
did do some like addresses in there. Yeah.
My father-in-law is a pastor and had a church in Gary, Indiana for 40 years. And he was the only pastor in town who wouldn't allow the politicians to come and campaign during service. Or if they did, he was like, well, then both of you have to come. Like, I'm not taking sides. He never told us how to vote. He always encouraged us at election time to follow what we know to be true about the gospel and the Bible, what it says about life, what it says about liberty. But he never, ever took to the mic to give a political message of any kind.
That's good.
Closest he got is defending life. Like, he's obviously pro-life, but that's a spiritual position. So, there's that flip side to it. So I always feel like, but you know what, Adam, you should go to a Black church at least once and have that experience.
I think I did go to one in LA one time when I was first moved out here. But yeah, I should go again and check it out.
It's just a fun experience to have.
So you're going to invite him and not me, just like you do on your podcast.
We should do like a video segment, like Adam goes to a Black church, and if any of our viewers or listeners want to invite me to their Black church,
not a bad idea.
I'd come and
dude, you could do man on the street thing. Yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Who are we at for the church stories?
I think it's
here?
you.
This one is from Deanne. I went into labor before the service, but we decided to go anyway because this was our 4th kid and we'd be closer to the hospital anyway. Ended up having to leave halfway through, and baby was born a little while later.
We gotta go to church.
Going into labor. Yeah, but we should go to church for.
Yeah.
That's very 4th kid.
That's very 4th kid. It's like, well,
I don't know. I don't have a family.
I'm all alone.
Adam is single and alone. He doesn't know anything about families.
All right, this one's for you, Kira. This is from Zach.
Our pastor, Zach says that our pastor was preaching about victory after a long, hard fight, but actually accidentally said long, hard fart. Church dismissed.
Did they really dismiss church? Did the pastor really go like, all right, we're done?
I would be done. Even at my age, I can't not laugh at a fart mistake.
All right, here's one we just heard from Zach. Here's one from Mac. He says, got into a fight, got a bloody nose, and broke the other guy's tooth out. Was about 12 or 13 at this point. One of the pastors found the blood in the hallway and freaked out. I never told anyone that it was my blood. LOL.
Wow.
Mac hardcore.
That's a great story.
Here's one from Aubrey. I know I've already added one. Oh, I guess she did a couple. But there is a bone in our church basement. It looks exactly like a juvenile human femur, and it's been there for years. There's also an action figure next to it. We don't know where it came from, but it's now the go-to spot to show newcomers. Hey, do you want to see our femur and action figure?
Oh my God.
Want to see our
That's
bone?
Insane.
Is this like going to turn into one of those churches where it's like actually a cult?
Yeah, it's like there's a bone in the basement.
So my funny church story, this happened several years ago. While I was at church, it was one of those days, and I will preface this by saying everyone was fine. Nobody was like seriously sick or anything. But it was one of those days when the air conditioner wasn't working in summer, and there was these 2 80-year-old women. They were sisters, and they were in the pew in front of me and my family and my brothers. In the middle of the service, one of them like passed out, like lost consciousness. everybody's freaking out. They're like, oh, we have to call the ambulance. We've got to get help for her. And her sister was like going outside to wait for the ambulance. And I was like, it's an 80-year-old lady. Her sister's in trouble. I'll walk out. And I walked outside and was waiting with her for the ambulance to come. And the ambulance pulls up in front of the church, and they get out with the gurney and they start to go inside. And this 80-year-old woman, while her sister's inside passed out, bangs on the hood of the ambulance and yells to them. She goes, hey, you can't park here. This is an emergency lane.
Oh, boy.
Retrieving a person, and she goes, you can't park here. It's an emergency.
She just is like probably like on automatic.
Yes,
Karen,
exactly.
Right? She's like her auto Karen was on.
Yeah.
And it just.
That is exactly what I would have expected an 80-year-old Lutheran woman
Yes,
to act
exactly. Like a typical like
I don't know many, but
old church lady response. Yeah.
We used to have a member of our church when I went to my father-in-law's church back in Gary. And it was a small congregation, and so we did have like very open pulpit. If you got a word from the Lord, you had a song, and there's one wonderful young lady who loved to sing, but really was just the worst singer ever. And when I say worst, I mean like no pitch. No, like she never really knew all the words. She was totally flat and loud. And she would always be like, amazing grace. That's how she would sing.
Like really trying to sell
amazing. And so every time we would see her like tiptoe into the aisle, we'd be like, oh no. Oh no. Cause like usually it would be towards the end of service when we were like desperate to get out of there. My father-in-law, he will preach for an hour. And if you get fidgety, he'll be like, "Oh, you don't have enough energy to sit for the Lord. I bet you if you were in the club, you'd sit there for 2 hours." And anyway, we'd see her, and one day she got up there, and it was just it was like, "Oh no, please!" And she was like, "God gave me this song." She starts singing the song, and her 14-year-old brother is sitting in front of us, and he just bursts out laughing as she's singing, and then we couldn't control it because once he started laughing, then all the laughter we were holding in, we started laughing. So me and my husband started laughing hysterical. So it's 3 of us laughing hysterically in this tiny church while she's singing the worst song ever. And she looked at us, and I remember thinking, I'm laughing at her. This is wrong. So I turned it into like praise, I was like, oh God, Jesus, yeah. It was I'll never forget her brother just falling to pieces because she was so terrible. And I was like, I can control myself every week, but sitting behind him, it was too much for me. I couldn't do it. Anyway.
That's great. Well, yeah. Next time you laugh at me, I expect you to turn it into praise.
Okay, Jesus.
Well, I guess I've already thrown a few of my stories in, but growing up, it was a mega church type environment, so they were always doing weird like object lessons and weird like, like the pastor would bring in a chainsaw and fire it off to like make some point about killing sin or something. I don't know. One of them was the pastor was famous for like playing Braveheart clips. Like it was always a joke of how is he going to fit Braveheart into this? And it was like, sure enough, next Sunday there's another Braveheart clip.
Wow.
But that was fun. So there was one time I remember the pastor did a sermon on like parenthood, and he's talking about being a good father, and he was like doing a very serious point, and he's like, and I'm reminded of that old song, "The Cat's in the Cradle," and he like presses play, or he has the whole church just sits there silently while they play "The Cat's in the Cradle."
The whole song.
So
on the stereo or whatever. We're all just sitting there. Like, okay.
It's like, oh, this is just a way for me to force my congregation to listen to my favorite
I like this song,
yeah.
so we're gonna play it.
Yeah, we're gonna play it and find some meaning in it. Wow.
But yeah, lots of good times growing up at church. We got more weird church stories coming up in the subscriber portion from our MLMB subscribers. So do that, and then you can hear what Kira thinks about women pastors too.
Yeah, and you can hear. I have some weird. When I first became a Christian,
you got more?
I was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, more weird church stories.
Yeah.
But right now, we're going to talk for a few minutes about California. If you're like me, the first thing you do when you get up is you pull out your phone and you start playing a video game or you start scrolling Facebook and Twitter and it starts infecting your brain, and instead you should consider opening the Abide app and starting your day in the spirit and peace of Christ in the Bible. Abide is the #1 Christian meditation app. Abide users report less stress, lower levels of anxiety and depression, and better sleep. For a limited time, our listeners get 25% off a premium subscription when you visit abide.co/Babylon. Whether it's the start of the day and you want to start the day right by getting some scripture in your mind, or it's the end of the day and you want to just kind of doze off while you hear God's word and some meditations from scripture, we encourage you to join the millions of people using Abide. You can get started now with 25% off a premium subscription by downloading the Abide app at abide.co/Babylon. You'll get additional stories and meditations, premium music, soothing sounds. You can support the Babylon Bee podcast and get 25% off by going to abide.co/Babylon, where you can download the Abide app and get 25% off your premium subscription.
California. How bad is it?
So, there's this... Ooh, California's terrible. So we get this discussion point all the time about like, why are you guys still in California?
People ask that all the time.
All the time.
Are you still there? How long are you staying there? Are you trying to
get out now?
Every time I'm at an event, where are you from? California. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Why are you there?
Yeah.
How did you make it out? That's always there's this perplex. So we wanted to talk a little bit about this, population fleeing from California. And then just to address is it a misconception? Is California really that bad? What are the pros and cons? So
I like that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it. So we got some stats here. California's population has shrunk for the second year in a row.
Unsurprising.
California is claiming that the decline is due to lower birth rates, higher deaths from the pandemic, and fewer people moving in.
Okay.
But apparently
people are leaving in droves.
280,000 more people left California than came here in 2021.
And we all know, I'm sure, like personally, I know people across the political spectrum, Republicans, Democrats, Independents, entire businesses, they're all fleeing this state.
Yeah. We all personally know people.
Everybody knows somebody who's left in the last 2 years, not even like 5 years, and not even people who were planning on it.
It escalated during the pandemic.
Absolutely,
everybody started fleeing.
100%.
Yeah. So some of the problems that have been cited: power shortages, water shortages, constant drought, fires, high taxes.
You make it sound so bad.
Bad highway repairs, our awesome bullet train that goes nowhere.
These are all true.
Public schools performing terribly, crime, homelessness is another one.
Homelessness is a big one.
People talk about a lot.
Yeah.
Homelessness.
And that's one that, again, living in LA now for 12 years, you would always see some homeless people around, but during the pandemic and when they made these laws where you couldn't stop people from camping on the sidewalks, every bridge in every neighborhood, there was tent cities under all of them. You would have people with mental health issues wandering into Starbucks. You'd hear them wandering up and down the streets at night. You'd find drug needles everywhere. It really escalated. There was just homeless tent cities with no sanitation, with no enforcement of them. Just
it hasn't
everywhere.
de-escalated yet.
Yeah.
And it's amazing. I don't think you can, unless you've seen it with your own eyes, you really can't understand like how utterly pervasive the homeless problem is, especially when you go into LA or San Francisco, or I was in San Diego recently after not having been there for a while. And it was like, holy crap.
Sacramento too, I've been to. Yeah, it's in all the major cities.
I live in a tiny little like suburb tucked away in South Orange County. You got to work to get back there. It's full of roundabouts and it's like your typical, like how all the houses look the same kind of place. And and I know this is going to sound stupid, but this is an example of how far-reaching this problem is getting. When we moved here, my husband and I moved from the most crime-ridden city in America, which at the time was Gary, Indiana, to the safest city in America. And you didn't see like anything. And in the last week, I have seen 3 homeless people just wandering through. And you don't just wander through our suburbs. There's nowhere to go.
Yeah.
If you're in the back, you're going to someone's house.
Usually if you're up in the foothills or you're a little higher, like they don't want to climb that hill.
Right. So that's just crazy to see. And I live in a neighborhood where kids walk to school. Anyways, obviously the homeless problem is a huge issue. And everywhere you go, yeah, it just smells. Like, think about the sanitation issue.
Oh, yeah.
Where do these people go into the bathroom? They're just going in the streets.
Yeah, and the crime is crazy. I would not frequently, when I moved to LA or I lived in New York before this, you heard about crime statistics, but it wasn't something that I saw happening regularly.
Right.
Now at the Starbucks and the Ralph's in the shopping center down the street from my apartment, over the last 2 years, I have at least 3 times seen homeless people in the Starbucks walk in, shoplift something. The employees yell for security. They chase them down the street. The windows there are often broken in. When I was a couple Christmases ago, I was buying a little tree for my apartment at the Ralph's. And as I was walking out, it was like a cartoon character burglar, like with a sack of stuff dressed in black, almost runs into me, comes running out of the door with a security guard chasing me across the parking lot. And it was like a Looney Tunes burglar with like a sack of stuff. And I've never seen that in my life.
Was it a bindle or
It was not a bindle. There was no stick. Yeah.
Bindle's a great word.
That is so cool. Well, Starbucks has closed some.
Yeah,
LA
they're closing locations because of the crime rate.
It's too much. Yeah.
So then I guess is the
we have lots of reasons to not live in California.
So it is as bad as they say.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of
question closed.
Home prices are high.
Well, I'll say.
Then, should we get to the reverse of, well, is it really that bad and why are we still here?
Yeah, and I'll say with the homeless thing, like you mostly see that downtown areas.
Yeah.
Like that's not something that in most suburbs you're not going to see. I know you said you've seen some.
We're starting to see it though, and that's what concerns me. You even go because I live in South Orange County, and so the beat offices are inland, but the beach towns.
What's the address?
Porpoises. Turnip.
Okay. If you want to stop by. I wasn't going to out you guys like that, but sure.
I always try to say the address because they try to keep it secret. They'll bleep all that out.
Okay.
When you weren't here, I did that on an interview show. In your honor, yeah.
I love that.
We had Kurt Schlechter on.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Schlechter. Sorry, continue.
That's okay. Sorry. I love Kurt. He's one of my best friends. I forget what I was saying.
You were talking about how much you love
homelessness in the suburbs.
So the beach towns are suburban towns, and they're being overrun now.
Yeah, well, beaches have always been a little more
loosey-goosey.
Hobo-y.
Yeah, hobo-y. Yeah. Well, the hobos were fine. When it was just the hobos,
What's the difference between hobo and homeless? I always say hobo to mean homeless person.
A hobo, to me, a hobo is like...
a bindle.
A hobo has a bindle.
That's how you can tell.
They're that person
See how he's got the bindle? That's a hobo.
Don't call him homeless. He's a hobo.
I swear. I was on the Nextdoor app the other day and this guy wrote a little post about how his son is a hobo and he just rides the rails. He just likes the free life. And I don't understand.
Just hobos more by choice. Like
just
it's
like
it's a lifestyle choice.
I think it's a lifestyle. I think hobo is like the guy. It used to be the homeless guy. He's might be a little cuckoo, but he's friendly. You give him a sandwich, you throw him $10, you stop and chat with him. That's your friendly homeless guy, you know? That guy used to, everybody in LA had a homeless guy. Now they're crazy.
They assigned one to each. Resident.
You have your guy.
Sometimes I wonder whatever happened to my homeless guy. I don't see him anymore.
That's my hobo.
Yeah. Where's my hobo?
Oh my God.
All that ended when they got rid of the Department of Hobos. So talk to Reagan about that one. You know what I mean? All right. Anyways.
Well, so what?
Say so many words.
So we talked about a lot. We talked a lot about what sucks. Is it a misconception?
I've always said throughout all this, because I do get that question a lot, especially from other conservatives. Why are you still in California or looking to leave? Mm-hmm. I would eventually like to move somewhere else, like the center of the country. I don't know that I'll stay in LA my whole life. But California, I always say, it is a beautiful state. There's so much to do here. There's so much natural beauty. It's a shame that it's run so poorly. There's beautiful national parks, you have the beach, you have skiing, you have hiking. And the people, I always say, there's sort of a stereotype about what LA people are as far as like being, superficial or rich or airheaded. There's some of that, but there's also a lot of people who move here from elsewhere. There's a lot of cool people here. Like I have great friends in California. I do still enjoy living here. It's just a shame that it's run so poorly at the state and city level. And what's always shocking to me and what does sort of push me towards wanting to move away is that the left has such a grip on this place that it never gets better. These people go out and they see the homelessness and they go and vote for Newsom again.
Yeah.
They see the lockdowns and all this craziness and they go and, vote for a Democrat mayor again. They just continue voting.
It's so culturally democratic they can't bring themselves to vote
out of it.
Yeah, there is that aspect to it. Where are you from originally, Adam? I don't know.
Pennsylvania.
Okay, yeah.
Pennsylvania originally, and then I lived in Brooklyn for 3 years, and I've been out here like 12 or 13
And
years.
you're born and raised. And I'm, all from all over, but almost 15 years now here in California. I definitely call myself a Californian now, but
yeah,
it's the same thing. Like
We'll
I've
allow
never,
it.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. From the native Californian. You might just score a guest invite to my podcast.
And your black church.
We'll say. But just don't push it. Don't push your luck though. But I've lived in a lot of states. I think I've lived in 12 states over my lifetime. And this is the most beautiful state I've ever lived in. California is really 3 states in one. You know, it's Southern California, it's Central, which is farmland, it's Northern, which is like the Bay Area and national parks. Just everything that Adam said, I agree with. I can remember when we first moved here and my husband and I saw a kid skateboarding down the street to school. And we were like, oh my gosh, people do that.
Yeah.
Like we grew up watching that in movies, right? Because California culture was really pushed as American culture in the 80s and 90s. And so was our idea of like the American dream was the California life. And when we moved here, I hated it. Like I was like, I can't stand this. The sticker shock was too much for me. And we were really struggling really, really badly when we first moved. And I remember telling my husband, like, just take me back to the hood. I know I can make life work in the hood because I understand it. But I don't understand life here. I don't understand life in the Orange County suburbs. I don't understand how to get ahead. I don't understand it. But my husband, for him, growing up in the hood, this is his American dream. California is his American dream. And he'll do almost anything. He will sacrifice our family, but to hang on to it. And so for me, when people say, why are you still there? Well, I don't get to make all my own decisions. I'm not a singleton like Adam.
Yeah. If you had no family and no one to love, then you could do whatever you want.
If I don't make a family work in a few years, I think I'm going to become a hobo. I'm just going to buy a bindle, jump on a boxcar, and ride the rails.
Can you be ours? Can you be our hobo?
If you give me a sandwich and $5, I'm yours.
Yeah, great. I'll give you our address. You would do great in our town, actually. You could do like little comedy things on the corner.
Oh yeah, you could perform in Santa Monica.
I could put on clown makeup. I could be one of those little hobo clowns, like a figurine, like a painting.
See, Adam,
big old shoes,
yes, floppy shoes and a torn jacket. And sometimes I'd be sad, and sometimes I'd be happy.
Get to work on the Photoshop, Bettina. Oh, goodness.
Look, here's the thing about California. There are good people here. There are a lot of good people here. And there are a lot of people, the people that are around you that want normal things for their kids and a good life for their kids. Those people live here too. And there's all kinds of reasons why they can't leave. We can't all just get up and go. Some of us are committed to being here because we have job obligations or family obligations. Some of us are here because we believe in change and we believe we can make change. I know that it seems impossible that we are culturally Democrat, but remember at one time this whole state was red and it was never going to go blue.
Sure.
So I do believe in the cycles of human history, and maybe I'm an eternal optimist, but I do believe there's hope for this.
I think that's good. And one of the best ways we can change things is to support people like Kira.
That's right.
Her, running for school board.
That's exactly, Adam. Yes, I'm running for Kira.
It sounds quick, but I mean that. It's like
absolutely.
We need people like you. There are grassroots efforts. There are communities that are starting to shift politically, and we need to get people in office that will change the way things are run at every level.
My wife has never been politically active, never cared, and just through the pandemic and seeing Newsom and seeing the school things are happening in the schools, she started to work with Faith and Freedom Coalition and do other stuff to try to win some seats back, at the state legislature level. And I think that's awesome. It's just that people are waking up and going, hey, we gotta fix things. Yeah, so I think there's negatives in California. I mean, I grew up here, and I firmly believe in like your local community and defending that, And so I don't like the idea that like, well, the state government is going liberal, let's all run away.
Yeah,
It's like you can't take that from me. My family's here. Like this is where I live. We've got In-N-Out, which is way better than Whataburger. We've got
Zanku chicken.
We've got Zanku chicken, which is
my
awesome.
favorite.
We've got Sizzler.
What's that?
It's like Mediterranean, Middle Eastern chicken wraps.
There's like one in Pasadena. I think Pasadena.
Garlic chicken. Oh, it's so good.
Why have I never had this?
Gotta
No.
check it out.
Really good. Really good. Local
Am I
chain,
really a
local
Californian then?
Well.
Until I have it?
No.
I think you're
Honorary.
a Californian, but you need to experience that
Okay.
chicken.
It's the next level, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, so we've got all kinds of great things. You get your own hobo.
We got the 405.
Yeah, 405 is awesome.
Yeah.
Sections of it. The Pacific Coast Highway is amazing. Just driving up and down the coast. Yeah.
That is an amazing drive.
cool.
This state is truly the
It's
most
an awesome
beautiful
state
state
in a lot
I've
of ways,
ever
yeah.
lived in. And it is worth fighting for.
I do see the liberal versus conservative thing more as the cities versus the rural areas. Because if you're in Orange County is totally different from LA.
Yep.
Riverside County is totally different from there. It's just it totally depends on where you are, and you don't understand how giant and diverse the state is.
We're not all LA.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're not all
and
San Diego.
it's not just Orange County. It's anytime you get like 10 miles outside the cities in any direction.
100%.
Or if you go inland, if you take the 5 through the center, all you see are recall Newsom and pro-Trump billboards and
MAGA.
signs.
Yeah, you are in Trump's territory 5 miles north of LA. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, well, we got to stop talking now because we have a shoot coming up, and the smog is affecting my my throat. So, here's some hate mail.
I really miss Adam Ford.
Don't ever send me this garbage newsletter again.
Oh, I sent that one. I saw it. I was like, it's enough that I'm on the podcast. Why do they have me on the newsletter list?
Which begs the question, why did they subscribe to the newsletter? All right, here's another comment that's really smashed and hard to read.
Can we make that a little larger?
It's like stretched.
Yeah.
You, sir, are a liar, and liar is spelled L-I-E-R. That does not help.
Always.
That does not help.
All of our...
You, sir, are a liar. You want to? Can you get this one?
Yeah, I can do it. Yeah, you, sir, are a liar, spelled L-I-E-R. You're the wrong version of you're a Jesus freak. The first murder was done without a gun. If you actually believe and tell people that...
we need context because this is on our gun video.
Oh, okay.
I guess.
This is from the gun video.
Where we do bad facts about guns.
I see.
Oh.
So it says the first murder, I assume, are they referring to Cain and Abel there?
Yes.
Was done without a gun. If you actually believe and tell people that prior to the invention of the gun, there were less murders, you are a L-I-E-R.
You are a liar.
And bordering on ignorant, if not already, very on the side of stupid. You and whoever believes this trash, murder was occurring everywhere without the use of the gun. Everyone from emperors to the lowliest of peasants.
Okay.
Even God ordered the murder of not just men, but women and children. You people make it so hard not to get ugly or want to say ugly things, but with the level of ignorance you show and spew from your mouth, it's almost like you beg for it. Just stop.
So someone who thought we were
real
being
barn
serious.
burner they wrote there.
Wow. I am so fascinated by people who take time to write stuff like that.
I'm fascinated as well.
Yeah.
Travis's Game Corner.
So one of the instances of a MMORPG that I was playing, and that's a massive multiplayer online RPG, was in Star Wars Galaxies. That was actually my first MMORPG, and the thing I liked about it was that you could build a house in Tatooine or build a house in that other planet. What was the name of that planet? It wasn't Endor. No, I mean, Endor was in it. I just can't remember. Anyway, you could build a house, and you could have roommates, and there are different classes, and I was a ranger because I was cool, and no one could be a Jedi, really. But one of the main things was that you can go to a cantina to rest, and there would be players that are just dancers. The thing that frustrates me about RPGs was the random battle system, where you could just be walking along, and then all of a sudden, shpew, you're in a battle, and you don't see the enemy or anything. And I think the most frustrating thing about it was that there was no real narrative indication. I mean, sometimes you'd be like, oh, I'm traveling through a forest, and obviously random things pop out. But other times, especially more modern Final Fantasy RPGs, you'd be walking down like a building hallway, and there's like, random battle, 2 soldiers in the hallway spotted you, and that's dumb. It's stupid. And the thing about turn-based battles, of course, is that that's how the British fight. They line up, they aim their muskets, and then they shoot at you, and then they wait. They literally sit there and wait for the American rebels to just demolish them. It was stupid, but so that's why I hated Japanese RPGs, but I eventually grew to like them because I became more enthralled with the idea of a narrative in video games. And, sitting down with a good JRPG like Chrono Trigger or Final Fantasy IX really felt like you're sitting down with a novel. It's just that the characters have tails or, weird headgear. But I really enjoyed it, but the thing I don't like is magic systems. So you get a magic system in an RPG, and it's always more complicated than it needs to be. Dragon Quest did it well. You got your fireball, you got your lightning, whatever. Very simple. You select it, you shoot or whatever. You have your mana. End of it. But then Final Fantasy games would constantly be like, okay, here's a Magicka system. Here's all these different combinations you can do, or only this character can do it, and it gets too confusing. And that's also the problem with Dungeons & Dragons 4th edition. It plays more like a video game in a sense. So the grid becomes essential and it's less theater of the mind. So you end up really having to almost study your character sheet. 5th edition's better at that, but I digress. So originally Japanese RPGs were inspired by tabletop games. That's why they're turn-based. But that doesn't explain the random battle system, because a DM isn't necessarily random. He just hates you. And there's usually a narrative. There's a reason the skeleton jumped out of a closet, but there's not a reason for a skeleton to randomly appear inside a chest in your closet. I don't know. That's just the things that happen in Japanese RPGs. They just feel too random. So if you ever have a friend that has like a board game problem where he's like, the dice are rigged, he won't like a Japanese RPG or the Japanese people. But my favorite RPG is probably Final Fantasy IX. But that was also my first real RPG. It wasn't like, what do you call it? I already mentioned it. The one you talked about, Chrono Trigger. That one was really good, obviously. It's one of my favorites. Probably number 2, but Final Fantasy IX was the first one that really won me over. Even though it has all the problems I'm talking about. It has a weird magic system where you have to change weapons to get a new magical power, but then you're sometimes going for a weaker weapon to get a cool magical power, and then I think you're leveling them. It's stupid. It's dumb. But, it was a cool game, and like I said, it has a main character with a tail. That had a more chibi art style, which I eventually found out because I read a magazine and they described what a chibi art style is, and I said, that's dumb. But it was better than it got dark. Well, it was better than the, what's it called? The more realistic art style from Final Fantasy VII. I don't like that because that's dumb too. Hello?
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us on the B Weekly. And subscribers, we got a little bonus content for you where we got more weird church stories, and Kira's going to say something really controversial. So you better become a paying subscriber. We got bonus hate mail and Babylon B subscriber headlines as well. So here we go.
Coming up next, for Babylon B subscribers.
Unfollowing you because you've chosen to discredit Joel Osteen.
How dare you?
Wait, is it Osteen? Like, they spelled it the Irish way. Joel.
The name's Joel Osteen.
Joel O' Steen.
You gotta live your best life now. I need a Photoshop of Joel Osteen as an Irish.
God wants you to find the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow.
This has been another edition of the B Weekly from the dedicated team of certified fake news journalists you can trust here at the Babylon Bee, reminding you that someone out there knows something about Carmen, and we're going to find them.